Good morning, class. How are you today? I believe you are all good. You look happy, sad, no? All right. I hope you are okay because today's class will be very interesting, and I believe we can learn a lot from today. And yes, just before we dive into our class, I just want you to I want to ask you a question. Question is, think about your day so far. Have you ever gone on your phone today? Like, have you checked your phone? Or have you messaged someone today? Or have you received a message from someone? And have you? Yes? No? Yes, I believe we all have. But isn't it interesting for you to actually know how it actually works? How the message is gone through? How many devices that it has passed through, the process and everything? Of course, it would be amazing to know about it. And yes, so today we're going to be talking about, of course, it's information system. Information system. Before we dive into information system, there are our learning objectives. Okay, this class, we're supposed to define the term data. We should be able to define the term information system, and the difference between data and information system. We should be able to know that. Also, we should be able to identify and describe the five basic components of information system. Thirdly, we should explain with examples how information system is used in everyday life. So yes, and classify real-world examples of the different types of information systems that we have today. So basically, these are the main focus of our class today. So at the end of this class, this is what we're supposed to understand. Set? All right. As we dive in, okay, the word data. What is data? I know we usually have this understanding that data is sometimes we mix it with information, but as you can see here, I've put them separately because data and information, they can be used interchangeably, but sometimes they mean different. So data is actually raw, unprocessed. They are called unprocessed facts and figures without content. Example, numbers, names, temperatures, test scores, like all these raw data, if we collect them individually, they are called data. So that's the difference between data. We jump into information. What is information? Information is basically data that has been compiled. So as we collect individual data, we put them together, they become information. So what is information? Information is when data has been processed, organized, or structured in a way that adds meaning and value. So that's the difference between data and information. There was one example, remember we used in one of our classes was the logo, the use of the logo. Okay, we don't know how the logo works, and when we cook the logo, we bring different ingredients, and bring these different ingredients, we put them together, we cook them in the logo, and then after cooking it, we bring it out. It becomes what? It tastes meaningful, it tastes delicious when after you cook it. It's the same thing with data and information. Does anyone have any question about data and information? Yes? No? Okay. We're all clear, right? We're coming to the deeper core of our lesson today because we want to learn about information system. Have you heard of the word information system somewhere? Of course, you may have heard it around, but have you actually understand the meaning of it? Well, I believe since you are all IT students, you may have a brief idea that how people have um, described or defined information system. Okay, one of it says that information system is the study of the complementary networks of hardware and software that people and organization use to collect, filter, process, create, and distribute data. So the next definition is information systems are a combination of hardware, software, and telecommunication networks that people build and use to collect, create, and distribute useful data, typically in an organizational setting. All right, as I am reading out the definitions, I want you to look at the similar terms and similarities between these definitions, the different definitions, and try and pull out which is common. What words are common, which terms are common, and yeah. So information systems are interrelated components working together to collect, process, store, and disseminate information to support decision making, coordination, control, analysis, and visualization in an organization. Well, it basically sounds very, of course, there's a lot of terms, good terms you can use in this, but in simple understanding, I can only define to you that information system is a system, of course, you know, it's a system where information is processed within an organization with the use of computers, softwares, and hardwares. Yes, computers and other network devices that we have learned of. As I've mentioned before, we can see that information system, from the definitions that we found out that there are components of an information system, and without this, we cannot have an information system. So basically, these components, they form up what an information system is. And if you were reading the definitions that we had before, the first uh, component is hardwares. Okay, hardwares. Example of hardwares are devices or any tangible part of a computer, of a device, handheld device, or whatever you can call a hardware. Next is software. I believe you all know what software is. Software is just the use of, well, examples could be operating systems, programs that we use in our, for example, in school, we use what? We use Moodle to communicate information, to process our information. So Moodle could be an example of softwares, and there are a lot of. Third is data. Of course, we've talked about data, so yes, we don't need to go through it again because we've already discussed what data is. And people. Okay, this is important because without us, people, to run or to be able to press button to say send this information or collect this data or organize it, there won't be any information system. So we are people, we are the ones involved in making sure that information is passed down within the organization with the use of hardware, software, and yes, that is people. The process, of course, is the steps that are undertaken for one information to be delivered to another device. So process is just how information has been passed around. So yes, uh, there's more examples in the notes. You can always check it. But the main important part here is you understand that there are components of information system, and there are one, two, three, four, five, and there are five components of an information system, which is hardware. We have software. We have what? We have data. We have people, and we have the process. Without these, there's no information system. So yes, these are the components of an information system. I've given you notes. What I can do is I've given you activities for you to read out, to do. Now I want you to understand. Okay, now it's time for our activity. I've given you notes. See, I'm just touching on bit by bit of these topics because we don't have much time. But there are notes provided for you all, so you can check your notes, and most of the answers you can find from the notes. If you do not understand anything, please, I am here, and I am just raise a hand. I'll come to your group and discuss with you whatever you guys need. But yes, I want you to move into your groups, 5 groups, and I want you to discuss why do organizations use information system? Why do IS help, or why do information system help in decision making, as communication and efficiency, and to us, the role of an information system. What is the role of an information system? Why is it important? Why do organizations use information system? So that is the first question. That's the first activity. I want you to discuss because we will present it after. Our second activity is there are different types of information system, and I have given you and allocated you with one of each of this type of information system. I want you to do it as a research or as a homework. As you go home, I want you to find the example. I'll only give you 3 minutes, 5 minutes, discuss of why do you think information system in an organization is important, or what is the role of what is the role of an information system in an organization. Yes, thank you. I believe we've come to the end of our class, and we thank you for each group for presenting and for giving us more details, more information on our topic, which is information system. And thank you for coming up with different examples too, as the one I've brought. So, and thank you. I'm very glad and very the class. We've managed to define what data and what is information. We've managed to differentiate between what data and what information is. We've also learned what information. We've learned how to define what information system is. And of course, we've learned about the components of information system, which is what? Hardware, software, data, people, and the process. So we've learned about the components of information system. We've also learned the role of information system in an organization. And thanks to you, you brought up a good findings on you've able to answer that with a presentation. Also, for your homework tomorrow, and yes. So if you have managed to answer all all this, then that is the end of our class. I'd like to thank you for listening, and I hope to see you tomorrow with your exercise that I've given you. Do a little bit more research. The more you know, the more you will enjoy our class. And then I believe we are all good. May you have a blessed day and see you again in our next class.